the legacy of the sun gods at the summit of the Andes, where the air is as ancient as the stones. The sun rises each day among the shadows of ruins and mysteries. There, in the land of the Incas, begins a legend that crosses time and space, a tale of solar gods and cosmic architects, of lights that came from afar and wisdom sown in rock, gold, and memory. Thus begins the story of the solar legacy, a knowledge passed down by the so-called children of the sun, the divine instructors who, according to the myths, descended from the sky or emerged from the sea of stars. Being such as Viracocha, Inti, Amaru, and Quetzalcoatl, whose traces still shine in the architecture, science, and spirituality of civilizations separated by oceans, yet united by their yearning for light. Cosmic origins. The children of the sun and their mysterious arrival. The chronicles of the Andean sages tell that, in primordial times, the world was chaos and darkness. Then Viracocha, the great builder, emerged from the sacred waters of Lake Titicaca. He did not appear alone. With him came enigmatic figures, giants often described as men with fair skin and long beards, wearing radiant garments. In some accounts, their ships descended from the sky like lightning, or rose from the depths of the lake, as if that sea of stars were a portal between worlds. They were credited with teaching the arts, founding cities, and transmitting solar wisdom. Thus the Incas and Inca peoples spoke of the arrival of Amaru, the cosmic dragon and guardian of celestial secrets, blending his figure with that of Viracocha, in a syncretism where serpents, dragons, and rays of light merge into a single entity. In the vast Inca empire, Inti, the sun god, was more than a deity. He was the ordery principle, symbol of life, power, and righteousness. According to the stories, Manco Capac, the first Inca and founder of Cusco, was conceived by the rays of Inca and sent, along with his consort Mama Oclo, to civilize the world. Thus, the legitimacy of rulers, morality, and creation itself were anchored in a luminous, celestial lineage. The Incas were not the only ones to attribute the origin of civilization to solar beings. In Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, is described as an instructor who came from the sea, bearer of science, the arts, and agricultural and astronomical knowledge. Like Viracocha, Quetzalcoatl promised to return one day through the shining waves of the horizon, nurturing the hope of reunion with the celestial lineage. Solar architecture. Temples and cities aligned with light, the sun became the invisible architect of the Andean cities. By command of the gods, every stone, every avenue, every temple was designed to converse with light. Machu Picchu, lost among the clouds of the mountain, is oriented to receive the first rays of the June solstice, when Inti returns triumphant after the long winter. There, the sacred stone, or Intihuatana, the place where the sun is tied, functions as an astronomical clock. Its shadow marks solstices and equinoxes with a precision that amazes modern astronomers. In Cusco, the Coricancia, the temple of the sun, was the heart of an empire ruled by light. Its walls, covered in gold, reflected the brilliance of Inti. For as the chronicler said, in Cusco, gold is not wealth. It is the sweat of the sun. During the winter solstice, priests gathered to greet the first golden gleam that entered through the windows, thus ensuring the return of fertility and harmony. Farther away, in the ancient ruins of Tiwanaku, near Lake Titicaca, the Gate of the Sun stands tall after millennia. Its main relief, known as the Lord of the Scepters, shows a central god beneath rays and astronomical symbols. At the dawn of the summer solstice, light passes through the gate and bathes the figure in a spectacle calculated to impress and remind all of the perpetual vigilance of the gods. Inti Raymi, festival and communion with the solar divinity. Inti Raymi, the great festival of the sun, was the most sacred event of the Inca calendar. Every year, at the southern winter solstice, thousands of subjects and dignitaries gathered in Cusco to welcome the new solar cycle. The priests, dressed in golden robes, invoked Inti and offered chicha, flowers, corn, and llamas as symbols of gratitude and renewal. Hymns were sung invoking the presence of Viracocha and Amaru, recalling the ancient times when knowledge was granted by beings who came from the firmament. The sacred fire, lit with obsidian lenses concentrating the sun's rays, symbolized the rebirth of the sun and, with it, the hope of the people. Global connections. From Egypt to Mesopotamia, a solar brotherhood surprisingly. The stories of solar gods who came from Disgaea, or from the sea echo in other ancient civilizations. In Egypt, Ra sailed his solar bark across the celestial Nile, defeating chaos and bringing light to humankind. It was he who crowned the pharaohs as sons of the sun, and the temples of Karnak and Abu Simbel are aligned to receive sunlight on the days of greatest solar power, just like the Andean temples. In Mesopotamia, Shamash, the god of the sun and justice, watched from above, granting laws and wisdom. Like Enki, his eye endures through time, and it is said that the Code of Hammurabi itself was dictated under Shamash Zay's gaze, another confirmation of the sun as the father of order and morality. The echo of these beliefs reaches Japan, where Amaterasu, the solar goddess, is the mythical ancestor of the emperor. The ritual of Kagura, the opening of the heavenly doors so that the light may return, parallels the Andean, Inti, Rami, a reflection of a universal longing to celebrate the annual communion between humanity and solar energy. These parallels extend even farther. In Polynesian legends, traveling gods cross the oceans guided by the sun, bringing with them technology, astronomy, and the seeds of new civilizations. Thus arises the question, could a network of solar instructors, coming from the sea of stars, have spread the seed of culture across the earth? Lake Titicaca, threshold of the sacred and the unknown on the high plateau. Lake Titicaca shines like a mirror between sky and earth. Ancient stories claim that from its waters emerged not only the first Incas, but the gods themselves. Some legends tell of vessels of light seen floating or descending from the heavens, encounters as cryptic as those the Egyptians described about the descent of Ra, or the Sumerians about the arrival of the Anunnaki. The lake was and remains a sanctuary, an astronomical observatory, and a stage 4 mystery still unresolved. The floating islands, submerged platforms, and obelisks along its shores speak of a profound knowledge of sacred geometry and communication between worlds. Viracocha, Amaru, Quetzalcoatl, faces of ancestral wisdom. Viracocha, sometimes depicted with scepters, other times as a bearer of lightning, is revered as the great civilizer. Amaru, the Andean serpent or dragon, symbolizes the energy that winds along the Milky Way, connecting the underworld with the starry sky. Thus, the Andean worldview reveals a universe where light and the luminous serpent are a doorway to knowledge. In Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl shares Amaru's duality, serpent and bird, earthly and celestial. He was venerated as the bringer of maize, the calendar, and mathematics, master of stillness and movement. His legends describe him arriving from the east, crossing sea, and promising to return the memory of a cycle, of a teaching yet unfinished. The universal message, light as a symbol of divine knowledge. In all these cultures, solar light transcends the physical. It is a metaphor for intelligence, spiritual awakening, and the union between visible and invisible worlds. The sun is the eye of the gods, witness of human conduct, source of order, prosperity, and renewal. The worship of Intiara Shamash, or Amaterasu, is in essence the recognition of our dependence on solar energy, a bond that unites tribes, empires, and continents. In architectural rituals, calendars, and festivities, the passage of light marks the rhythm of life and death, of forgetting and rebirth. Solstices and equinoxes are contact points in the great wheels of time, reminders of our position in the vast choreography of the cosmos. The living legacy of the solar gods. Today, in every Inti, Remi celebrated in Cusco, in every pilgrimage to Machu Picchu, in every chant sung at dawn by Lake Titicaca, echoes the memory of those instructors of light. Perhaps we will never know for certain whether they were travelers from other worlds, advanced sages, or mythical incarnations of human curiosity. What is undeniable is that, in their luminous footprints, ancient cultures left an invitation to look up at the sky, not only to ask for help or foresee agricultural cycles, but to remember that we are children of silence and light, of darkness and memory. The legacy of the solar gods lives on within us. In the art of aligning temples toward the horizon, in the language of astronomy, in the promise that light will always triumph over shadow. That is the message that, from the Andes to Egypt, from Mesopotamia to the Pacific Islands, continues to tint the dawn with gold and hope. Because, after all, in every culture, in every era, humanity keeps asking the same cosmic and solar question. Where do we come from? And toward what light are we being guided? If you found this documentary interesting, please like, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to Rewriting Our History,